You god damned right. Welcome, crazy motherfuckers, to Gabbin. It's Gabbin and Games, but let me just give you a quick update. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Listen, we're changing the format up a little bit because what I want to do is it's still Gabbin and Games, but Gabbin's going to be its own show. So today we're going to go for about anywhere from 60 minutes to 2 hours just talking games. And then we're going to take a break. We're going to turn off the stream, go do nonsense, take the dog out to shit, get dinner, whatever it is you need to do. And then we will come back and we will do the games portion. It will be a separate stream, separate title, everything like that. We'll be playing Luigi's Mansion today, but we're doing that because I reached out to a bunch of people who watch the stream and I says to them, look, pal, help me understand this. How do I improve the stream? And a lot of people have said, I love the gaming part, but not the gabbing part. Or I love both, but I only have time for one, blah, blah, blah. And I see that in analytics as well. So I want to keep them separate. It may also allow me to easily turn the gabbing portion into a podcast. So we're going to try this a little bit for maybe a week. We'll see if we like it. If not, we'll go back. No worries. But we'll be playing Luigi's Mansion a little bit later, probably an hour, hour and a half after we wrap up. But this is the gabbing portion. I hope you're well. It's good to see everybody. Another thing I heard from a number of people was, Jaffe, I love your streams, but I don't like it when you talk to politics. And I understand that, and you guys know I've been trying to get better. I will tell you, on today's stream, we may find out what exactly is happening with the election. And in that, I'm sorry, we're going to have to talk about that if the election is called. But if it's not called, then there won't be any politics on today's stream. Not August saying, Jaffe, you were playing this fantastic game the other day called Katana Zero. He says, what happened to it? Nothing happened to it. I'm still playing it. I love it. But I really want to try to get a lot of these games finished before I jump into some PlayStation 5 stuff like Miles Morales and Little Big Planet and whatnot. Speaking of PlayStation 5, why don't we jump right into some Sony news, and I'll go to the chat. I'll see how you guys are doing. Atticus says, I don't mind the political talk. I understand that, and I appreciate that, Atticus, but not a lot of people, but I would say DW Octorok just sent me something over over on the Discord, and it says, he says, this is what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Octorok, can I show people this shit? What the fuck? Is this a game? Is this a game you put out into the world? I got to show people this, but I'm going to wait until Octorok gives me the go on this. But anyway, the point being is, yes, some people just are like, Jaffe, politics get me down. I don't like talking about them, and I appreciate that. So we're going to, I'll do individual political streams and whatnot. But hopefully I can show you Octorok's thing. That's fucking crazy, man. Okay. So today PlayStation comes out, and they finally start dropping some details on Destruction All-Stars. Now, as you know, Destruction All-Stars, we had a guy who played it come onto the stream a couple of weeks ago. I have always been kind of like, this is way too goddamn expensive for a title, $70, and they've since said this is going to be, we're shipping out, I think, February, January, and it's going to be a PS Plus title, which is great. Thing has microtransactions, it's competitive, it's multiplayer, they need a lot of audience members, so it makes a lot of goddamn sense. So, number one, yay, that's awesome news. But there still was a lack of information about what PlayStation All-Stars or Destruction All-Stars is. Turns out, PlayStation has your back. They're going to tell you about it today. I want to show you guys the trailer. We're going to talk about the trailer, but then I want to talk to you about the game modes, what have me most excited. By the way, Mupo drops the first super chat of many super chats today. I can feel it in my nether regions. He says, Jaffe, here's a banana, you old so-and-so, and he knows I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the banana. Very, very kind, very, very generous, and a great way to kick off our wonderful stream here today. Mutant says, I missed the Diet Coke being snapped open. That's because I don't have any Diet Coke. I'm literally down to my McDonald's cup I had Postmated to me today with Diet Coke in it, and I will be picking up some Cokes tonight when I go to the grocery store. Chongo says, Jaffe, wait, when are you going to get a PS5? Well, we have our good pal Dame, I don't know what he calls himself. There's a mix between Alexis, I think is who it is, on what's it goddamn called? Alexis on the fucking stream right now, but in the Discord, he goes or she goes by Dame Done a Moment. And so Alexis has offered to sell me their PS5, and if we can get the shipping worked out, that will be something that I'll be playing on stream, and I'm very appreciative of it. Now, Destruction All-Stars. So here we go. God damn it, Jaffe, you fucking maroon. Okay, here we go. Let me show you the trailer first. Good to see you, Zolio. Okay, the Funko Pop, by the way, there's a way you can win a Funko Pop from Gabbin Games we'll be talking about in just a couple of minutes. But I want to talk about All-Stars. I want to show you the trailer first because I have some things to say on the trailer, and I'm sure you do too. And then we'll get about talking to the modes of this title. So let me make this screen big. It's only a minute and a half, minute and 55 seconds, but it's a good trailer. It's got some good footage in there, stuff we haven't seen. All right, let's take that away and let us begin.
Welcome to Destruction All-Stars. I'm Aaron James.
And I'm Mia Chan.
For tonight's main event, let's recap the action from last week when Lupita delivered an absolute masterclass.
She immediately acquires a fast vehicle.
Genesis in her sights, hits the slam, oh, wreck!
Perfect timing for maximum devastation.
His performance has earned his special ability Breaker and a new ride with invisibility.
And Lupita has not seen him coming at her.
She was asleep at the wheel there.
Absolutely, and her vehicle's showing it's built for speed, not taking damage.
She's been wrecked, so now on foot. This is gonna test her. Lupita, charge now, ignites her Breaker.
A killer move. Looks like Shift is hungry for more, but the gravity-defying evade comes at the last second.
Fantastic. Fuego comes out of nowhere, and now Lupita is right on top of him.
You need a right to win, and she's ready to take Fiscal by the horn.
Lupita's back in the saddle, a textbook takeover.
Enough wrecks in her wake. She calls in wildfire.
Oh yeah, and it's all over now.
At the perfect moment, she deploys her vehicle breaker to bring the heat.
Lupita blazes her way through the competition, lighting up the arena. That was a night to remember and one for the Wolfpack. But can she find the win this season?
No doubt she wants it, Aaron, but there's 15 other athletes who want it just as bad.
Prepare yourselves for the most explosive season in history, right here on Destruction All-Stars.
A couple of things. So I think it looks great visually. The modes that we're about to go over in just a second sound, I think at least a couple of them sound really fucking cool. It looks like fun to me. And it's free, so I'm looking forward to playing it. It's not free, but you have to have PS Plus, but whatever. Dom says the game is going to be a hit. Now, let me tell you, and let me give you some thoughts on this, though. Number one is I hate the style of it. Now, I think they've executed the style very well. I'm not casting aspersions on their abilities as a team. It's obviously incredibly well done. It looks beautiful. It's well animated. It's all that's great. But personally, as an almost 50-year-old dude, I don't like this flavor. I don't like the shoving it like, hey, this is going to be an esport. This is our play for esports. I don't like when games do that because it's so clear what they're doing. It's like, we want to be an esport so bad. We want to be the next Rocket League. That the whole pitching it like, hey, it's you know, it's a one for the Wolfpack and all that shit. It feels very forced. And I think everybody, humans, but gamers specifically tend to be pretty sensitive to sort of lack of genuineness in this kind of stuff. And it just comes off as a little fake and forced. I also don't like the art style at all. I think it's beautiful. I mean, in terms of the characters, the cars look great. The arenas look great. The characters look great. I just don't like the style of them. So, I mean, but that's just me, whatever. I don't mind the style of them. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it because Fortnite made it ubiquitous and you can't turn it. Again, it goes to a lack of genuine vision. It feels it feels more like you can smell the marketing all over it, right? And that's not bad. They'll probably make more money this way, but you can smell the marketing all over it. You can smell a lack of an auteur vision or a lack of a, a lack of a sense of, I have to bring this vision to gamers. And it feels very much like, what boxes do we check to make hit? Let's check these boxes to make hit, right? And it just, that's off-putting, but that's not to say the game doesn't look like a blast. This is a smart business move. It's like, let's take Fortnite, let's take Rocket League, let's smush them together, add a little bit of our own shit, and let's go to the bank and, make sure we have enough people who can lift the fucking money that we're going to make to bring it to the bank to deposit it. So, I mean, I'm not saying I would do any different. I'm just saying as a fan, as a gamer, I look at it and I don't particularly like the emotional resonance of Destruction All-Stars, which doesn't mean anything. Eric says it lacks originality. Eternal says it's Ubisoft light. Well, remember Eternal, I don't remember the name of that game, but Eternal, Ubisoft at their, whatever they called it, their big, just, here's what's coming out show. They showed that kind of extreme sports, downhill mountain biking, skiing, kind of like Steep, but with Fortnite characters and shit. It totally feels like that. It totally feels like more of that stuff. Eddie says this looks like Microsoft Game Pass fodder. Dude, that's not true. Eddie Torres, first off, Microsoft's got some great shit on Game Pass. That's fighting words, pal. But if you look, come on now. You can dislike the game play that you're seeing here. That's fair. And you can dislike the thematic like I do. And that's fair. But you look at you think this looks like fodder? Come on now. This is good production. This is a nicely produced online specific, fast speeds, characters out of cars, hanging on tops of cars. This is not some piece of shit. This is a good quality product. Whether it's good or not as a play, we don't know. Upvote says it feels like someone from Sony came in and said, how do we take Twisted Metal, strip it of personality and flavor, and appeal to a mass casual audience? I don't know how true that is in terms of, because this is a game made in Europe. And the European folks have never had a real affection for Twisted Metal. Let me tell you something. Here's what I noticed as just sort of insider baseball a little bit. So when we were pitching Twisted Metal 2012, and we didn't know it would be out in 2012, but that iteration, we specifically were trying so hard to appeal to the Europeans. We were like, we knew we had an American audience that were interested. What can we change to make this appealing to the European audience? Because we really, games were getting more expensive. We had to become a more worldwide brand. So Scott Campbell and I and Kellen Hatch, that's where the original idea is for let's kind of mix Twisted Metal meets Fast and the Furious. And you've seen some of that art online where Sweet Tooth is more of like he wasn't a rapper. He was kind of more like the Kingpin, but he was sort of more like a black version of the Kingpin. And instead of having flame hair, he had a really cool black flame tattoo over his, he was bald, like a big black skull. And then he had the flame. It was very cool. And we're like, okay, maybe Europe will go for this. Hello, Zach. Good to see you, sir, as always. The thing is, though, that wasn't, when we had a meeting with him at the very beginning of, we were trying to pitch the game around to various territories, we says to them, what do you think? This is great, right? European, you're going to love it. And they're like, we don't get why there's cars on the guns. We don't really like that part of it. And I'm just kind of going, wait, what? I mean, we saw this in Japan, which we kind of understood. And now we're hearing from Europe. And if you look at Allstars, I haven't seen one vehicle in this game that shoots a gun. It's all like, ramming, kind of like energy, not even, I don't even think there's projectiles in this fucking game. And so maybe there is just something culturally, because I remember when I heard that, I was like going, you guys fucking almost invented it. James Bond was the first character I ever knew in my life that had a car that he hit a button and fucking, barrels of machine guns came out the front of the headlights. But it was just like, for some reason, something happened in that culture. At least, I see it reflected here in Allstars. I saw it reflected in that meeting when the executives were talking to me. There was something about guns on vehicles that did not sit well. Alexa says they'll never forgive or forget what you guys did to the Eiffel Tower. Maybe that's exactly what it is. But anyway, so let's talk about the modes. This is where I think this game has a real potential to shine. I mean, it looks good, not my cup of tea thematically, but it looks like a lot of fun just production-wise. But this mode, there's a couple modes that sounds pretty cool. Mayhem's just Mayhem. Mayhem is classic deathmatch. If you don't know, you get knocked out of your car, you have to get in another car. One of the things you may have noticed or not is when this character, I guess her name is Lupita, she gets knocked out of her vehicle and she gets in another vehicle, and the skin of the vehicle changes to reflect her character, right? Which I think is pretty cool, because otherwise, how do you know you're fighting on the battlefield? So it looks like all the cars are going to be able to be skinned. Watch this. I think she gets in. She knocks this guy out, and she pulls this dude out of the car and takes over the car. And now watch that. It's like Predator skin, right? So, I mean, that's, there's some cool shit in here. There's some cool shit in here. But anyway, so Mayhem is basically straight up, fight bad guys. Be the classic deathmatch, probably number of kills to win, team-based and whatnot. Okay. Carnado is the one that sounds pretty cool to me. Take what you learn in Mayhem, put it all on the line. So it's risk reward. You earn gears if you wreck or damage opponents, which are just pickups, and they're stored in your vehicle. And then there's this center point where you have to basically, wait, no, I'm getting this one wrong. This is, earn gears, automatically stored. Sacrifice your vehicle by driving into the Carnado. Right. So the idea is if I go out there and wreck a bunch of people and I get 50 gears, I don't know what the number is, 10 gears, I can bank those. But the more, I bank them, kind of sound, no wonder I like it. It sounds a little bit like organ donor in fucking Drawn to Death. You bank those, and the longer you're out there, the more you're going to get, but you need to take them into the Carnado in the center of the map or wherever they put it in the map to get your score. So it's risk reward. The more you're out there, the more of a target you are, because the more of these gears you've got. But you also, need to stay out there to collect them to up your score and run up the score. And when you run into the Carnado, your car gets destroyed and you're on foot and you're super vulnerable, right? So it sounds pretty cool. I'm totally into a mode like that. The stockpile, I don't really like control games. And then there's fucking, Battle Royale. There's Last Man Standing. So I'm interested. I'm absolutely going to play this game. I mean, it's going to be free anyway. So I'm glad they've put some details out. I've seen a number of people online, not the least of which are in this chat, that have said, hey, why don't they just fucking show me a game from start to finish? All these clips and editing and shit, just give me a fucking moment of this game. I don't disagree with that. It'd be nice to actually see some fucking gameplay. Daddy Issues, it is free on PlayStation Plus. So it's just like they launched Rocket League, just like they launched Drawn to Death. You basically can get it if you're a member of PS Plus, at least for that month. Bacon says, this game is going to fail. PlayStation's strong point is single-player narrative. We're going to talk about that in just a second, Bacon, because some stuff has come out about Nintendo today that makes me want to talk about what PlayStation does well, what Nintendo does well. But I agree with Eddie. Sony needs more multiplayer games. This may not be a big one, but it's a start. You're right. They absolutely need to diversify, because Nawdog and Bacon are both saying their bread and butter is single-player narrative. But do you want to build a whole fucking company, especially given how competitive the landscape has gotten, on just that kind of game? Especially, look at the budget on this. I guarantee you, I'm just making this up now. I don't have the inside skinny like I used to, but my guess is the grapevine tells me that Last of Us Part 2 was definitely over $140 million to produce, right? This game here, and that game has a shelf life. It'll make its money back, already has. But there's a ceiling, right? This game, it may not work. The chances of it working well are low. Most games don't work, and most games are not phenomenons. But let's just say you get a sales phenomenon or a microtransaction phenomenon like a Rocket League or like a Fortnite, or even just 30% of that. I mean, the cost of this game is probably $40 million, $35 million. Now, maybe that's wrong. Maybe Sony's like, Jaffe, no, it was 87. But it's still a lot less than what a single-player narrative game would be. And those are the games that make a lot more money, not the single-player, but these multiplayer service games. So you're absolutely right that Sony needs some online titles because they don't cost a lot, comparatively speaking. And when they work, they take you to the goddamn moon, man. Pactor says Apex Legends made $1 billion so far, says Realism. Let me tell you something else. I mean, just in the last quarter, we talked about this the other day. Was it Rockstar? I think it was Rockstar made $1 billion. No, it was Activision. Activision made $1 billion in microtransactions alone in the last 3 months across all their games. One quarter. So, you gotta play in that part of the pool, man. You gotta swim in that part of the pool. Jaffe, there's rumors about a TM Black remake. Is it true? If it's true, they're not including me. I know nothing about it. Yes, Akashi, there are microtransactions in Destruction All-Stars. You were planning on holding off on the PS5, I thought, because games weren't intriguing. What made you decide to bite the bullet? Chongo, well, a couple of things. The opportunity presented itself a few times. Now, Alexis caught me at the right time when I decided to pull the trigger. Rotten Tanuki has also offered to sell their PS to me, and I honestly just kind of forgot. I don't remember which one of them hit me first, but Alexis hit me at the right time when I was like, you know what? I personally am not dying to play PlayStation 5. I'm excited to get one. But it's not that I don't care about it. It's just that I'm like, the games look good, but they look like more of the same. I'm not all that, like, oh my God, I have to play Miles Morales. Do I want to play it? Sure. Do I want to play Little Big Planet? Sure. But there's nothing about the one that I'm excited the most about is Astrobot, because clearly they're saying the controller of that is so, it creates some really interesting opportunities for new gameplay. So I'm interested, but I'm not like, oh my God. It's not like when the Oculus Quest came out where I'm like, I've never had that experience before in that way. I want that, right? But the opportunity presented itself. And then honestly, a lot of it is, right, like Rotten says, it's good for the channel. Look, I mean, it's not like I don't want to play Miles. It's not like I don't want to play or try Demon Souls. Is it Demon Souls? I don't know, the fucking hard one that I'm going to suck at. But the point being is that, yeah, I mean, I'm sure, that month for sure. If not in RE Village, I can't wait for that. The minute that goes live, it's going to be, people are going to say, hey, let's play those games, Jaffe, and I won't have the opportunity, right? So that's the main reason. Okay, I want to switch the goddamn gears, but I will tell you, Rotten, if you still have your PS5, I'll know tomorrow. Me and Alexis, they have to send it, and they got to change the mailing address, and they have to keep their name on it for my P.O. box, and I have to call UPS tomorrow and say, hey, if it's somebody else's name, will you guys still receive it? And if they say, yeah, we can't do that, then unfortunately I probably won't be able to do it with Alexis, but I hope I can, because they can't send it to me. And in which case, if you're still available, yeah. Hello, Saltiest Gamer. It is always good to see you, pal. I like your little icon. Whenever Saltiest icon shows up, it's got a little dude with the crown on it, and I like to see it. He says, would you Drawn to Death have a better chance of success if it was dropped into Game Pass? Drawn to Death would have done better if it had stayed free to play. And we all made that mistake. Sony thought going PS Plus was the right move. Bartlett Jones thought it was the right move. We were all like, oh, this is a great opportunity. And it turned out that was, out of all the work we did, that was the biggest mistake we made in 3+ years of development on that game, is that one decision. I remember we went out to an Indian restaurant in the Gaslamp. We would probably still be in business, and I'd still be making games on the daily if it turned out that somebody at that Indian restaurant, it was me and Scott Rohde and Christian Phillips, the guy who ran San Diego, Jeremy and Bob, the producers, myself and Nick, and might have been the lead programmer, Mike as well. And none of us said, oh, this is a bad idea. We were all like, yes, this is I mean, none of us, all that experience at that table, and none of us saw it. And it was total blind spot, and it fucked us. It fucked us bad. Okay, listen to me. There's a law. You know me, I can't speak to legal shit, but listen to me. This is interesting now. We know historically that Europe tends to have stricter restrictions on entertainment content. You know, a lot of people still say to me, Jaffe, why did Sony censor Twisted Metal? Sony didn't censor Twisted Metal in Europe. That was the government that said, you can't release your goddamn game here if you keep some of that content in. We just won't legally allow it. Just like Australia is saying about the Medium from Bloober Team. They're like, yeah, I don't give a fuck what you do with your game, pal, but if you don't make some changes, you're not putting it out here in Australia, and Crocodile Dundee ain't going to get to play it, okay? So they're stricter, for sure. This is a consumer rights, it's the Digital Content Directive, and it's pretty interesting, and it's pretty, because it affects games all over the world. It's not just like, oh, well, sucks to live in Germany and have to play video games. This is news from today. My understanding is this is going into an effect in April. No, it's going into effect immediately, and they're going to reassess it in April 2021, if I read that correctly. But it's basically to prevent game companies from, quote, taking advantage of consumers by saying things about their products or changing things about their products after the consumer has already bought in. The first example, there's 10 of these. I'm not going to go over all 10. You can see this online. But the first of these is probably one of the most telling, where the publishing incomplete game versions and patching them after release. So if you publish a game day one and it's not good enough, and that's subjective, that's where it gets a little weird. The directive requires suppliers of digital content to comply with certain objective requirements. Such objective requirements include that the digital content shall possess the qualities and performance features, including in relation to functionality, compatibility, accessibility, continuity, security, normal for digital content of the same type. Don't tell me that's objective. That's subjective, but whatever. In other words, a game does not function as it can be expected by the consumer, does not meet the requirement. In the case of this, you get your money back, basically. So it's not like the company gets sued and they go out of business, but you no longer can buy a game and it's like, hey, you guys promised there would be this mode, or you promised the game would do this, and you shipped it and it's like, yeah, sorry, we had to cut that. They can't say to you, you're not getting a refund. And you could say, well, that's just in Europe. No, because what it is the person who signs this, it applies to foreign companies. So if Microsoft, which is a foreign company to Europe in terms of where they're based, their headquarters, wants to put Halo out, the person in Europe who agrees to this, and the company that's a foreign company by nature of selling their products there has to agree to this, then suddenly if you're, Microsoft is going to have to make changes to their games that will affect the whole world, even though they're doing it only to comply with this law in Europe. And this goes on. This is not delivering on advertised publicly features. A game trailer, for example, can show a certain graphic or cutscene, and if it's not there, and if it's a meaningful exclusion, this goes into an effect. The demo could be inaccurate, and if it doesn't reflect the game, again, this is subjective shit, but if it doesn't reflect the game, you get your refund back. Not meeting consumer expectations on collector's items. This was interesting. I don't buy collector's items, so I haven't seen this. But here's an example. An example would be publishing a picture of a collector's item edition that shows a goodie that is made of high quality material, for example, metal, while the actual item is manufactured with lower quality material like plastic, right? I mean, they get into the weeds with this shit. Modifying the service. Again, you can see this online. Modifying the game in general, ceasing support of a failed game or a season pass without going through the proper protocol and all, Now, it seems the only sort of punishment or consequence, the reason I don't have a real problem with this, the reason I think this is actually a win for consumers, is that the consequences to the company, it's not like you can be sued for a shit ton of money. It's not like there are punitive damages. It's not, at least from my reading of this, it's more to the point of saying, look, if this law or if these restrictions find that you have misled the customer and now you have fair warning of what it means relatively, and it's still subjective, and every court or every territory, even within a country, can still have wiggle room according to the way this is written to sort of, judge if a game is delivering on its promise or not. But you're not going to go out of business or lose $1 million or have a class action lawsuit of like $30 million. You just get your money back, which I think is perfect. It's like, look, man, if I downloaded your game and I gave you $20 for the game and it doesn't do what it says, and I can show you it doesn't do what it says, that's your problem. And that's good. I mean, I'd love for the free market to just take care of it, where the market just says, oh, Ubisoft does this all the time. They don't, but I'm just pick them out of the hat. Company X does this all the time. Fuck it, we're going to make them go out of business because we're not going to respond to their shit. But people respond to their shit, and so this is it's a nice consumer protection, right? Protect the consumer from shitty products and lies, says Mutant Mo. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is a lie, and sometimes it's just shit happens. So I mean, the worst case for developers. Okay, I'll give you a great example. There's a video up right now that's been up forever on YouTube where I show behind-the-scenes footage of making Twisted Metal 2012. Now, this was behind closed doors, right? But I didn't leak it. I released it afterwards. I'd left Sony. The game had been out for 4 years or whatever. But in that, there's a mode called Chase to Vegas, which was a mode I loved, which was two teams. Team A was trying to stop a semi-truck loaded with nukes, I think it was nukes, from getting into downtown Vegas and detonating it. And Team B was trying to protect the truck and keep it alive until it got to Vegas and one of the team members blew up Las Vegas, okay? And it was fun and it was cool. It was just way too fucking big to create in the time we had, and we had hoped if we got the green light to do DLC, which we never did, that we could resurrect it, okay? And you can see this mode in this video. You can go to my channel and look under the Twisted Metal tab, and you can watch this. It's somewhere within that 6 or 8 or 10 minute video. And it's a cool mode. But what this is saying now is if I would have gone out, on Twitter and said, hey, look at this fucking cool mode we're working on or whatever, it's possible that we could have then had tons of people saying we want a refund because you misled us about something that was going to be in the game. So the best case is that we can still, on the development side, share early shit, but probably legal is going to be like, you have to make it super clear that this may not make it in the game. Maybe there's going to be tags at the beginning of every video now that's just like, look, what you see here is in development. There's no guarantee this is going to be the final product. Or it may, I don't know if that's going to be enough to comply with what this is. But it's interesting. It's definitely going to have an effect on the game industry in terms of how we market and even in how we potentially produce. Maybe if this really has teeth, which I don't think it will have the kind of teeth that some people think it will, but if this has real teeth, you might see day one games being a lot less ambitious. Teams might just be like, look, if we're going to get fucked by this, let's not even worry. It was going to be 20 hours. It's going to be 12 hours. I don't want to run the risk of not having those extra 3 bosses done by ship day. And if we can do it, great. If not, don't worry about it, right? Do they already have, don't they already always have a work in progress message on most gameplay videos, says Dane. They might, and that may be all that you need, or you may need to adjust the language a little bit to comply with this specific law that and again, this law, I think it's in effect now, and there's something weird at the bottom. It says, implementing it. So in Germany, it's implemented already. UE member states are required to implement the directive into national law until July 2021. Typically, national law implementations can vary in terms of strictness and interpretation by local courts. Thus, the risk from a consumer law perspective based on the implementation ultimately depends on the EU member state. So there you go. Right, bullshot images with tags may not represent final product on the bottom in bold print. Yeah, I mean, it may just simply be that. It may be the end of bullshots and nothing else. Erwin Schrodinger over on the YouTube says, I'm going to press the subscription button and see what happens. Well, sir or ma'am, what happens is you get me looking you right in the eye and saying, I sure do appreciate that subscription. I appreciate you joining our little wacky commune of human beings, and I appreciate you being here. Erwin, thank you very much. Erwin sounds like a Lord of the Rings character. Wasn't there a character called Erwin? Doesn't matter. Point is, how you doing? Welcome. This is a bad regulation, says Still, because games are iterative, so games can be totally different from pitch to final. At best, marketing shouldn't show anything until the game is mostly on the shelf. I think I think that's the worst way to read this. And you may be right. But again, the punishment of this is just a refund. So are there going to be busybody assholes who are like, no, there's not enough puddles in Spider-Man that they me. And let's say they live in a area of Europe where they look at this strictly, and it's like, fine, dude, here's your $70 back. Go whine somewhere else, you fucking moron. But if it's a big problem and companies are losing tons of money because companies are basically lying enough that it's really bothering people, then I think it's gonna be good for gamers. It's gonna be good because it's gonna be like, look, if you're lying that much, or if you're shipping a product that's so unfinished, this is just some protection against that. So I don't think it's bad. I mean, like I said, I had hoped that the protection would be the free market where gamers just say, fuck you, I'm not buying. But that clearly doesn't happen, unfortunately. Jaffe says, Heath, sorry if I haven't been in the streams. Needed a break from outside world. Not a problem, sir. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. Hope things are well for you. Let's move the fuck on. In a world where Puddlegate exists, you think whiny people don't exist. No, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they fucking do. This is just stupid. Do you see this fucking thing? Okay, there's not even news. It's just, I gotta tell you, this is dumb. You saw this thing that GameStop was saying, hey, we're going to do this. It's so weird. I didn't even understand what the fuck I was really looking at. It's like, we're going to do this thing where if our employees do a TikTok dance, the winner is going to get like a Visa gift card, an Amazon Echo 8, and you also get 10 extra work hours on Black Friday. And obviously it got all kinds of shit. I mean, the reason I bring this up is, what is wrong with this company? This is the same fucking company that March, April, when we were doing all the shutdowns and people were like, only essential employees can go to work. GameStop's like, well, we're essential. So they kept the place open, and they literally had employees reach out from the door with a bag wrapped around their hand to give people their games and take their credit cards and take their fucking money. I mean, at least they were being safe. But what is the head of the Hydra, or there's multiple heads? What is the head of the fish of this company that consistently just makes terrible decisions? And is it because they're so willing to bend over backwards because they love their hobby so much? It's like, you know what? If you need to fucking fuck me. I want that game day one. You want to fuck me in the ass with a fucking machete? Not a problem, pal. I need my goddamn PS5 the day it comes out. Maybe gamers are just willing to take the shit because this company has consistently been crap. This company is the China of video game retailers when it comes to human rights. Now they're trying to make their fucking, it's like, hey, win a stupid fucking contest where you humiliate yourself on TikTok and you might get to work 10 extra hours. I mean, again, if you're working that kind of job, I get extra hours is a bonus, but how about you just pay them the fucking money? GameStop, how about you say you don't have to actually work the extra hours? And again, no, there's not a lot of details. Maybe that's what they were saying, but they've taken this down since. The contest may still be on, but it's no longer available to look at as the public. I don't know what they thought they were going to do. Like, if this is going to create some good vibes or some viral shit, this is just embarrassing for them. And I know they're trying to get their shit together and make their company better. They need to fucking fire whoever it is at that company that consistently creates these policies that make them look like an awful, uncaring, shitty fucking company. Or maybe they're just like, no, Jaffe, because we make a lot of money. They don't need more. But these policies work for us, so go fuck yourself. Because gamers will pretty much, swallow any shit we shovel into their fucking pie holes. Could be true. Jaffe, do you love PlayStation? Says Fur. Do I love it? I don't know. I mean, what does that mean? Do I love the company and the people I know there, or do I love the unit? I don't know what you mean. So Mutant Mo says, listen, I miss the mom and pop shops. A lot of us do. And I don't know, Trey, if you're watching the stream right now, but Trey, you should have gotten, hopefully, your Blu-ray about the mom and pop video game stores that are, pretty much gone, with the exception of a handful that are still hanging on. So, it's mom and pop stuff, man. That's good stuff. I miss it as well. Gamers like being treated like shit, says Peapod. Just look at how they continuously buy bad games and support microtransactions. Not for resale, Bacon. That's what it's called. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they like being treated like shit. I just think they're willing to take it. And I don't know what that's about. Somebody could write a good like college paper on that. Is it because and it's not true. It's not true anymore that gamers are the geeks of the world. But back in the day, you could at least say, hey, we're trained to feel that way because we get picked on all the time at school and junior high and high school. So this is just a continuation of that. But I don't even know if that's true. I don't know why it is. Maybe video games are just so goddamn addictive that people are just like, fuck it, I'll suck your fucking dick. If you need me to suck your goddamn dick, you gonna give me a fucking Xbox Series X or Series S? Fuck. Pull it out. Let's go. Josh Palilo, right as we're talking about, blowjobs that you don't really want to give, but you give in order to acquire new hardware. Josh says, I'm going to hit the subscribe button, and you probably are now regretting it. But either way, Joshua, thank you for being here. We appreciate it very much. There's still a few mom and pop stores going down here in Texas, Chongo says. Yeah, there's definitely mom and pop stores, but they're not what they were. Someone in the chat was saying that, the pandemic wiped out the mom and pop stores, but it's not. I mean, yeah, that made things worse. But those video game stores were on the way out well before that shit. Okay, let me. I want to give you guys a heads up. So we're gonna talk membership stuff, but I have some news. Let me just bear with me. I know if you're not a member, you're like, dude, Jeffy, shut the fuck up and get on to the journalist that has a backbone. I will. One moment. I want to tell you what's going on. That's all I'm saying. Just want to tell you what's going on. So. Is tomorrow Thursday or Friday? Tomorrow's Friday. We are doing lunch with Jaffe for Cult of Calypso members and above. That's where we basically just eat lunch and hang out. It's totally chill. There's no show. We're just hanging out and eating. We've done it once before. We used to do it on the old stream. That'll be tomorrow at 11 o'clock Pacific time. If you want to join, that would be great. Cult of Calypso or above. Saturday night is the spiritual Let's Get Weird. Here's the edible marijuana. Let's get high and watch some weird videos while talking about God and all kinds of crazy shit. That's open to all members. Anyone can watch it, but only members can chat on that particular stream. More stuff's coming in November, but the one thing I do want to give you a heads up on, we are going to be giving, not this one's mine, but I am going to be giving away one of these to the winner, the Sweet Tooth Funko truck, right? I will give that away. Not that one, but I'll give you a box one, brand new and all that shit. But we're going to be having a Gabbin and Games fighting game tournament. I think that's going to be not next week, but the next week. Okay, now here's how it's going to work. We might do everything 2 weeks, and then on Thanksgiving Day, we'll do the finals or something, but whatever. The point is, it's going to be members only can enter it. Everyone, it's easy to get. It's Brawlhalla. Okay, Brawlhalla is free. It's cross-play. It's on Xbox. It's on PC. It's on PS4. It might even be on mobile. I think it's on mobile. So no one is going to have a problem acquiring this title. If you're watching this stream, you can play the game. So any member can play. Memberships, the higher your tier, the more chances you get. So Diet Soda Soldiers, you can get knocked out twice and then you're out. Cult of Calypso, you get an extra life, and God of Wars get 4 chances to basically survive to the end, and the winner will get the truck, okay? I'm bringing this up because you should maybe be practicing your Brawlhalla skills. There's no pay to win in this game. It's just cosmetics. I'm going to be competing. If I win, fuck it. I don't know what I'll do, but I'm goddamn right I'm going to try. But anyway, there you go. Brawlhalla, that's coming up. Okay, I wanted to give you a heads up on that. Are you going to sign in? What do you mean, sir? Are you doing another Thanksgiving morning stream? Absolutely. We are doing a Thanksgiving Day special. I haven't worked out all the details yet, but yes, that is coming. I'm not sponsored by Brawlhalla. I would love to be sponsored by Brawlhalla, but the problem is that, look, we were going to do Mortal Kombat. We were going to do Game Beast. The problem is not everything's crossplay, and even if everything is crossplay, it's going to cost you $20 to get those games. And I for a competition, I want to do whatever I can to lower barrier of entry. Next week, by the way, we're doing a Stadia game night listen to me. Don't fucking blow a gasket. Stadia, if you have a PC, you get a month of Stadia for free. It costs you nothing. We're going to play Strange Brigade, and we're going to play Bomberman, right, competitively. And that will be our gamer night for next week. Although gamer night, we might do Strange Brigade on Steam because it's on sale there, and we'll do Stadia Bomberman, right? So you don't have to have a Stadia, and that's the thing. If you have, Realism says, ew. Ant says, who has a Stadia? What the, you don't, that's why people are so ignorant. All you have to do if you have a PC, now you do have to have a PC, pal, go to stadia.com. That's it. And say, yeah, I'll take a month of Stadia free. And then you can play all the Stadia Pro games for free for a month, which include Strange Brigade, which include Bomberman Online, which is really fun. But anyway, we'll do Strange Brigade on Steam. But I'll get you the details. Anyway, there's the membership. I'll tweet out stuff later on that. I just want to give you a heads up. Okay. Yeah, you need a good connection. That's true. Will we do a Destruction All-Stars lobby? What does that mean? Yes, I will sign the truck if you want me to, if you win it. Don't you have to pay for games on Stadia on top of a subscription, says Lord A. Yes, but only if you, but they have a series of games that if you are Stadia Pro, which is like $10 a month, but your first month you don't have to pay anything and you're not committed to continue. Those are like Game Pass. Those are free. And that library is growing like every couple of weeks. They just added 6 more games today. So those games, as long as you're a member and your membership is free for the first month just to try it, you can cancel anytime. And you don't have to pay that second month at all. If you don't like it and you don't want to keep going, those games will be free. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, Rob the Mod just put a link to Stadia. Come on now. Have a little faith, fellas. I'm not going to steer you wrong. Stadia, if you have a good connection, is a good experience. It's good. It's a terrible business model, but it's a good goddamn thing. It's worth a try, says Lord. That's right. Just try some goddamn. What the fuck is this? Why did this come up on my screen? I think Alana Pierce is showing off the Xbox. That's not what I want to show, though. Okay. Oh, that's not too bad. Heath says, if any of your members win, they get the pop figure. If you win, you pick who you want to give the pop figure to. I'll think about it. I might want something more than that. If enough members have a PS5 and Destruction All-Stars, let's do an invite-only game. Oh, yeah, for sure. That'd be great. Okay, I want to switch gears. I want to go back to talking about the video games for a little bit, or not the membership, but what's happening in the world. I just thought this was pretty interesting because one of my complaints, this got sent to me today over on the Moonshine and Biscuit Social Club. Who sent me this? This came to me by way of, Garcia, which is Mike Garcia. And so I thought this was really interesting. So, yes, Asuka is in Brawlhalla, and I own Asuka. I've unlocked her, or I've purchased her. So this was interesting because I'm always complaining about these journalists that this is not political. How is this political? I'm always complaining about these journalists that say we're against crunch in video games, but they have no problem going out and playing and reviewing the games that are made by crunch. And Mike sent me this, and I just thought this was pretty cool. It was nice to see. A journalist, a couple of journalists say, "I'm not doing that." This is a conversation between one of the journalists and another, talking about, are they going to play Cyberpunk, and did they play Red Dead? It's just really quick. Let me play it for you real fast.
And obviously, yeah, the fact that it was a DVD player as well, a lot of mainstream casual gamers had bought the PS2 and had things like
collective action. Get in there.
Get in there.
I wonder what happens next. Like, I wonder if, Starfire are inevitably going to push through and get to the end of this project. Because if you drop out of this game, 8 weeks before the end, like, even if it's, I'd love to see some people drop out 8 weeks before the end for the sake of their health. That would be a good thing for them. But I can't see that happening. So I wonder if it will be kind of, certainly post-launch and certainly post-Christmas, if there will start to be kind of an exodus of some sort of staff from the studio, kind of like, I am not going through that again. You would hope that that's what happens. Just as you would hope that players would not buy the game and not reward practices of crunch, but that's not going to happen. Completely on that note, and this is the least important concern, but I'm just intrigued, to you two. So Maria, you've already said you are not going to buy this game.
No, I mean,
in part now because in part because it's crunch. So I purposefully did not buy Red Dead Redemption 2 because we reported on that crunch, and because it sounded awful, and I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to be. I know I've heard that, do you know what, boycotting games doesn't actually help the staff who rely on the sales for bonuses or whatever the hell. But I thought, you know what, no, I'm not going to spend my money on something that has punished people. I'm not going to. And eventually it came on Game Pass, and I downloaded it and I had a quick go. And then when I was playing it, it was like, yes, okay, this is incredibly detailed, but at what cost? And the whole experience was tainted for me, and that's absolutely not an important concern compared to people literally burning out. But from an end user's point of view, how can you enjoy something knowing that actually this has killed people? And I've really been looking for Cyberpunk. It's been my most anticipated game of the year. It's been one of my most anticipated games since I saw the first gameplay at E3 a couple of years ago. And now I know if I do get it, I will be playing it and I'll be looking at every nuance, every detail, thinking, yeah, but at what cost?
We had.
Okay, so a couple of things. I mean, to Mike Garcia's point, he put a video up saying that same journalist was interviewing game developers, and the game developers were talking about crunch, and the game journalist didn't really push back on him. I'm like, well, I don't see that as hypocritical. I see that as just look, when you're interviewing someone, it's like when you do a preview of a game and it's a shit game. Your job, if you agree to do a preview, is not to go, it's a fucking shitty fucking preview. You agree to wait till the review. So if you're doing an interview, sometimes a journalist is like, look, I'm not there to push back on this guy. I'm just there to get him to spew facts that I ask him. So that is what that is. But in terms, though, of both these journalists saying we're going to avoid this game because of crunch, I think that's a step in the right direction. Now, I agree with a lot of people in the fucking chat. I don't have a problem with crunch. I don't like it. I didn't like doing it when I did it. It was awful. I chose to never do it again after I did the worst crunch of my life, which was God of War. I'm like, I don't want that in my life. That's too much. But that said, though, it's the way greatness gets done 95% of the time in almost any industry, and I don't have a problem with crunch. But I do think that is absolutely a great thing, that if you say you have a real problem with crunch, then yeah, you should stay away from that game. I respect that. That's one of the few things I've heard a journalist say where I'm like, okay, now I'll take you more seriously as a journalist. You've got a fucking backbone. You've actually got some fucking, balls, baby, because you're going to actually walk away from something that you take as offensive that your company has made money off of reporting on. So I wish more journalists would do that. At least the ones that are going on about how awful crunch is. I tell you what, little Jason Schreier better not be getting his hands on Cyberpunk. He better not be playing that fucking game after all this. Oh, he's got to stay relevant. Okay, then you know what? You either make your money reporting on something and you make it clear, as he does, that he's opposed to what he's reporting on, but you don't benefit from it as a piece of entertainment later, or you stop reporting on it as a negative thing. But you don't get to do both without being called a goddamn hypocrite. That's all I'm fucking saying. You think crunch would disappear if people got paid hourly? It would not disappear, but it would absolutely, it would change things all around, right? So I'll give you a great example. So the movie industry has that. They don't get paid hourly, but the union rules demand that if you work overtime, some of them get paid hourly, but not all of them. You have kind of like a deal memo of this is what you're getting paid for this job. But if overtime kicks in, you get, I don't know if it's time and a half or double. I think it depends on if it's the weekend or how many hours. And if it goes over 2 hours, then it's more than time and a half. But yeah, and look, in video games, there are contractors, usually in QA, where we've had to deal with that. And I guarantee, I will tell you, it affected the way we did our work, because we were like, oh, let's get this patch in. I think it was like Drawn to Death. It's like, let's get this patch in. But Sony needs it tested by tomorrow morning before they send it to the PSN store to try to get it certified. Well, we were like, well, shit, that means we have to keep the testers here for another 6 hours. We don't have that in the budget. Games, in a good way, are going to have to focus more on what makes the game great to begin with. Yeah, some people could argue, oh, it'll make management get better. Yeah, but people who say that they're usually wrong. The idea that crunch is a result of bad management, in a bad company, you're right. But in a company that's trying to make great products, it's not bad management. It's that you don't know what you don't know until you know what you don't know. And that's iterative, and that's part of making a game great. And it's not that, let me tell you something. Shannon Studstill and Yumi Yang, two of the best producers I ever worked with in this goddamn business, and I worked in the business for 20 plus years. You're not going to find a better producer than those two. God of War 1 was extended 4 times. It wasn't because Shannon was a shitty producer. It was because we as a studio were trying to make a better game, and we wanted more, and we wanted it improved, and that's what it takes. So if you started paying people hourly, or if you started having these union-like rules where you get paid more if you work above a certain hour, there will be consequences to the end product. The good consequence will be it'll make the team focus on really what's special. The bad consequence for people who like all the flash and production value is you're not probably going to get the perfection animations. You're not going to get the crazy Naughty Dog stuff as much, where if a character bumps against the wall, there's like 30 animations and an algorithm that decides I want to tween between animation 6 and 43 and 2 because the player was pushing off the wall in just this specific angle. I mean, you're probably not going to have that level of fidelity, is all I would say. Has crunch gotten worse now that teams aren't 20 people? No, it depends on the game. Games have gotten bigger, but teams have scaled up with that. So I don't think crunch is a problem exclusive of bad management, but also deadlines that consider the fiscal year for shareholders instead of the employees. Well, that is bad management. I mean, if you're managing a team and EA's like, we need this game, Christmas 2002, and everybody knows at the beginning, if you want it at the quality level that you're asking for, you ain't getting that till Christmas 2023, sorry. That's different. That's just bad management. That's someone in the chain of command doesn't have the authority or doesn't have the balls to stand up to sales, marketing, their boss and say no. So they say yes to keep their job, to keep people happy, and then they overcommit. That's not, that act is an act of bad management. Ant says, why the difference between Sony first party and Microsoft first party? I mean, it's management. It has to be, because it's not lack of talent. Those guys have a lot of fucking talent. And hopefully it's getting better. But with all these companies they've acquired, hopefully they've left the management alone for the most part. But you're absolutely right. If you look at what's happening at 343, if you look at what's happening at the, is it Evanwood or whatever, they just lost a creative director. They've consistently or chronically had a problem with management at their company when it comes to managing internal development. I don't know why that is, but it has to be management. It's not like we just keep accidentally hiring shitty programmers. No. And look, here's how you know it's management. Because even if it wasn't management, at a low level, at some point, the guys and the girls who are running the show, they're management. And if they're not capable of looking at the war map, the war table, and going, guys, we got a problem here. We're consistently delivering products that aren't at the level that gamers want, and we're consistently canceling and or consistently missing dates. Maybe it's not a management problem in the moment to moment of the studios. Maybe it's something totally different. But it's those heads that are responsible for righting the ship, and they have not done that. So I'm with you, Bacon. Crunch, in my opinion, is necessary. Without it, it can have a negative impact on the game. 100%. Jaffe, have you seen the Netflix documentary on For Honor? We clearly see the effect of crunch on devs and management. I haven't. No, it sounds interesting. I have not seen it, and it's a terrible effect. I'm not trying to make crunch sound great. Crunch's terrible. But, let's put it this way. If somebody came to me on my deathbed and said, or if somebody came to me anytime since God of War, during God of War including, and said, I can make crunch go away right now. but your game will be 20% not what you want it to be. I'd be like, no, bring on the goddamn crunch. And I think Tim Moss would say the same thing. I think Shannon would say the same thing. Are there some employees that are like, dude, I'm just fucking doing the texture maps on the wall? Yeah, maybe they wouldn't. And that's okay, but they don't have to work there. There are A-team players, like Steve Jobs said, and there are B-team players. And it doesn't mean the B-team player doesn't have the same equality of talent, but it does mean that a B-team player, what goes with being an A-team player is being willing to sustain the body blows of a horrific working condition because your goal is greatness. That's how it works in any industry. Big Box says, are you pessimistic on Halo Infinite after its showing and delay? Or is that just fanboy? What's FUD? Look, I don't care that much about graphics, so I didn't have a problem with the Halo, what they showed. I like that they're doing more Halo open world. I'll be curious to try it. But I think... here's what I think. I think something's rotten in the world of 343. They're losing too many high-ranking people for there not to be some kind of kryptonite that's throbbing under the floorboards that's affecting that entire group. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm pessimistic. I'd like to think at this point, because, I mean, you don't get much bigger failure than not just missing your launch window, but missing the launch window where you're the only game for hardware, for a hardware launch. You don't fail that. You don't get much worse. So if whatever is rotten at 343 doesn't get fixed by upper management, meaning Phil Spencer and Ken Lobb and that group, then something's got to change if Microsoft wants to stay competitive, because they're making some great moves across the board. But when it comes to that stuff, I don't know. I mean, hopefully, they're not idiots. They're really smart people. They're really fucking smart people. But I'd love to know what's going on with that. I'm just curious, man. The most successful people put the work in, says Bacon. They don't cry and say it's too hard, and they learn to adapt. Okay, that's true. I'm not trying to be like, you're writing it, Bacon, kind of like, you know, fucking man up and do the shit, you know. And I agree with that, but not every person needs to live their life that way. I think our culture celebrates those people too much. I think there's nothing inherently better about those people than someone who says, you know what? I want to be home most nights at 6:30 to have dinner with my family. I want to be able to go to my kids' softball games. I want to be able to exercise. I want to have a good relationship with my spouse. That's not weaker. That's not worse than the person who says, I want to fucking throw all in and make the best fucking game you've ever heard of. They're both good. They're both valid. It's just that the problem comes is when you put the people who want to go home at 6 o'clock into an environment with a bunch of A players, and A's wrong because it's not better, but, you know, A types, then shit goes sideways. That's the problem. Answering Mike's question, says Heath, I don't think journalists are showing bias, but like I said in the Teardown State stream, they can't separate blockbuster games from all-around games. I shouldn't have read that because I don't know what Mike said. Oh, Mike says, do you think journalism is biased to unionize game devs? Has crunch literally killed people? I've never heard that it has, Mike. I saw that on the audio recording. I've never heard that crunch has actually killed an individual, but I mean, it's possible, I suppose. Okay, Magic says, dude, you'll be taken advantage of if you don't draw a line. Dev work doesn't work like that. Those two sentences seem to contradict each other. Do you absolutely in life, you will be taken advantage of if you don't draw a line. That's true. But again, if you go work at a team, I've said this ad nauseum, if you go work at a team like Naughty Dog, if you go work at a team like Santa Monica, if you go work on a political campaign for president of the United States, and you expect to go home most nights at a good hour, you are a moron. This is the NFL. Just like if you want to play street football or go down with your high school buddies on your, 10th high school reunion and throw the ball around and play some touch football that periodically spills over into a real tackle, nothing's wrong with that. But you don't get to complain about the fact that there are people who are willing to put on the pads and actually go out there and wreck their bodies and play in the NFL. People can choose different things, man. Maximus says if you don't crunch, you end up with Duke Nukem Forever. The game was never finished because they worked on it between playing World of Warcraft. That's bad management. I don't know if that's crunch. That's just bad management. I agree with that, Bacon. You and I rarely agree. I agree. Don't touch a hot stove expecting it not to burn you. That's 100% right. 150% right. Ant says there's a famous architect who took advantages of kids, students, but loads of students still threw themselves at her. Yeah, because they wanted the experience. They wanted to work with the best of the best. Hey, I'd like to go shooting down fighter planes with Maverick and Top Gun. I don't really want to work that hard to be good enough to fly with Maverick. I just want to fly with him. Well, you can't do that. That's why it's called Top Gun, you fucking moron. Jesus. Okay. Jaffe, did you see that Fallen Order is coming to Game Pass? What is Fallen Order? Oh, Jedi Fallen Order. Yes, I did. I'm still convinced, and I could be wrong. I can have egg on my face. I've been wrong before. I am absolutely still convinced that Xbox has at least one more bullet in the chamber when it comes to getting a really big title on Game Pass for Christmas. Because if you guys have seen the reviews for Xbox today, they're pretty fucking good. They're pretty fucking good. But the consistent theme is I never want to go back to Xbox One X or Xbox, whatever the last one was, the non-Series X. This is amazing. It is incredibly intuitive. It is incredibly powerful. Quick resume is fantastic. The upgrades are fantastic. The load times are fantastic. All of that is amazing. But they're just saying, look, you don't need to buy it right now because there's no fucking games for it, right? And so, you know, it ain't a bad point. And so that's consistently what the reviews have been that have been coming out today because the embargo lifted, and it's a great fucking point. At which point you have to kind of say, Game Pass better get something day one to motivate people to buy it, because I'm a guy, you guys know I love Game Pass. I got a PC. I was this close to pulling the trigger on a Series S, but I'm like, you know what? I can play pretty much everything I want to play on my PC. I'll wait. I think everyone's going to wait, and that's dangerous. They need to open up that checkbook if they already haven't and buy themselves exclusivity of a big third-party title to launch day one on Game Pass that Sony doesn't have. Because if they don't do that, everyone's going to sell out this Christmas anyway. That's not a problem. Switch is going to rule the roost, and everyone else is going to sell out regardless because there's not going to be a lot of content in terms of hardware. But they need to get on that ASAP. And I know they know that. I'm not telling them something they don't fucking know, but goddamn, man. Is there a reason why crunch is preferable to a delay? Isn't this just math? 16-hour work days, this is Big Box talking, for 6 months is like 8-hour work days. So part of it is, like someone said, you do need to ship in a fiscal quarter because there are projections, right? So a lot of times you'll see that Sony, with God of War specifically, you'll see a lot of those games come out in the spring. A lot of times you'll see a lot of games come out in the spring that get pushed from Christmas time or the holiday time. And that's specifically because the games weren't able to be finished in time. And the publisher says, yes, you can have extra time, but you can't go beyond, I think it's March 31st, which is the end of most companies' fiscal year. And so the projections that they've given to Wall Street investors, things like that, of what they're going to make in the fiscal year is based on inventory sold to retailers. So if EA, for example, has told their investors that we expect to ship 32 million, I'm just making this shit up, I don't fucking know. We expect to ship 30 million copies of Jedi Fallen Order across all platforms across the world by the end of fiscal. That gets factored into a lot of decisions that get made for Electronic Arts. They can ship by the end of fiscal if it hits the store March 31st, but they can't if it hits April 1st or April 2nd or beyond. So a lot of times it's not just trying to make Christmas, it's trying to make a date that's very strategic for the company. So a lot of times it's not just like, hey, let's not work people as hard, let's just extend the schedule. There are other factors that come into play that affect the situation in such a way that you can't really do that all the time. Oh my God, ditto, fuck yeah. Did you ever have to crunch during game development? The reason, yeah, I crunched like a motherfucker with the team with God of War, man. It was a nightmare. It was a goddamn nightmare. Heath says, like I was saying before, it all comes down to deadlines because that's where most of the stress comes from. That's where, yeah, depending on what you do. My stress was deadlines, but my stress was more, it's not fun enough yet. I did play Stig's Jedi game, Emilio. I didn't finish it. I really liked it. I would like to go back, but there's so much to play. I haven't really had the time. That's the God's honest truth, pal. Okay. Let me show you something. Hang on. Okay, hang on 1 second. I want to show you guys a couple of things really quickly. Well, hang on a minute. Let me see something real fast. Okay. There was an article on IGN today about... There's an article on IGN today about, they were like asking people online to talk about, you know, as we're getting into new console generations, what memories they have of getting their first consoles and what positive memories they have. And that really opened up my emotional floodgates of thinking back. And then I see this great Walmart commercial, believe it or not. But I think everybody has a lot of those memories of like your first console. Maybe people have, I mean, I can remember all my consoles emotionally, but the first one, the first ones are when I was really little. When my dad brought them both home. The first one he brought home was this Telestar triangle that had a steering wheel on one side of the triangle, a gun on the other, and a little Pong controller. And the actual carts were triangles that you plugged in. I saw one recently. Tommy Tallarico, who's a crazy collector of this stuff, has one in his house, and I got to see it. But the real one I remember the most is when he brought home the Atari for my birthday, the Atari 2600. And it's so infused with nostalgia and warmth and wonder that it is fascinating to me that the PS5 and the Xbox One and the Switch, for a lot of people, is going to be their very first console. That's amazing that we're so old now, even if you're just 20, that it's like, you know, you don't even think about that. But somewhere out there, there's like an 8-year-old kid that's getting a PS5 for Christmas or for Hanukkah or for a birthday. And that is going to set them on a path of just the love for the medium. I want to show you this ad that I guess it's Microsoft and Walmart put out. It's really fucking good. It's a good ad. I want to show it to you. It kind of speaks specifically to kind of what IGN's article was about, and it speaks specifically to what I'm talking about right now when it comes to nostalgia for consoles. This is the Walmart ad. Watch this thing.
We've been in the game from the very beginning. There with you every step of the way. Continue your journey with the most powerful Xbox ever. From one generation to the next. Xbox Series X, coming soon to Walmart.
So that's pretty good. That now, again, I don't agree with them. That ad makes more sense for PlayStation because, you know, it ain't like somebody, you know, people ain't buying the Xbox, the last one, like they're making it sound like. I know John Johnson says that's a funny ad since no one bought the Xbox One. I know, but you know the point though. The point is that we're getting, at least I am, but I mean, a lot of you guys are too. You're getting old enough now. I share games with my kids. My favorite memory of the PS3 Wii generation is literally sitting on the couch and playing Wii games with my children who were like 5 and 7 at the time. And it wasn't like Mario Galaxy. It was some stupid fucking Disney princess game where I think one of them played the princess and the other used the Wiimote to kind of be a little Tinkerbell fairy or some such shit. Total average fucking game. It was fine for what it was. But that's memories, man. And it's wonderful and it's emotional. And the fact that that's continuing, even though I know it's materialistic and it's capitalistic and it's just a fucking box. I get it. And I'm usually one of those guys. It's like alliances and console wars is fucking stupid. And I still think console wars are fucking stupid. It's moronic. But when you start throwing in the fact that you have all this nostalgia, it's pretty powerful. It's pretty fucking powerful. Today I was owning kids on Halo 2, says Eddie, and a kid told me to get a life. I told him I've been playing this game before you were born. That's exactly right. Realism says, great. Walmart reminds you that you're getting old. Getting old's not so bad, man. Getting old's not so bad. PS3 is probably my favorite gaming console memory. You had so much fun with that thing. Kappa, how old were you when you were playing the PS3? My guess is you were relatively young, right? Because it usually is that, right? It's because, I mean, there are a few people that would tell you the PS3 is like a great era of gaming. It was fine, and they definitely staged a comeback at the end. Hogwash, you're a moron. But a lot of it's just your age, man. Console wars sell consoles, says Rudden. No, I don't know if I agree with you. Console wars sell clicks. They don't sell consoles. If they sold consoles, the last Xbox would have done really well. But no. But they definitely, keep websites in business. You were 15 or 16, says Kappa. So why was that era so good to you? Why do you have such strong memories? Was it the games? Or was it kind of what was happening in your life while you were playing? Games always hold a special place in my heart, says Upvote. Getting a new console are some of the best memories when it comes to the hobby. I can see that. Jaffe says, Rob, I still remember my papa bringing the Xbox original through the door of our house. Me and him played Halo all day. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that wonderful? A lot of you guys, I don't know how many people watching this show have kids, but when you have kids and your kids decide to play video games with you, it's wonderful, because they enjoy it and you get to spend time with them. And, games are fucking fun, man. The only platinum trophy I ever got in my life was I was playing with Calvin. I was playing Brave from the Pixar movie, which wasn't a great game, but it was fun to play it with him. And I got a fucking platinum trophy for it. It's the only one I got. I'm 37, says Itchy. PS3 is my favorite along with SNES and PSX. It's the games. Listen, SNES is the shit, man. I love fucking SNES. Xbox launch, we skipped school junior year to buy it. Yeah. It's good memories, man. It's fucking good memories. Okay. Speaking of, I have one more question about this. Not so much the console wars, but Nintendo comes out today and they say, holy cow, look at all the money we've made. Nintendo is on goddamn fire. They are absolutely going to rule the roost come Christmas in terms of money. And this is not a unique place for Nintendo to be. Other than missteps from time to time, these folks in Nintendo for decades consistently sit towards the top of the goddamn food chain. Certainly when it comes to emotional connection, oftentimes when it comes to money, whether it's the DS or the NES or the Wii or the Switch. And Sony obviously does amazing work. People have great affection for Sony and PlayStation specifically. But for a long time, I thought the Nintendo thing was that transition of Walmart, the Walmart ad. I grew up with Mario. I shared it with my kid. He's sharing it with his kid, blah, blah. And I'm sure that plays a part in it. But it's absolutely something else. And I don't know if it's just the fact that Nintendo consistently embraces the medium maybe better than any other company. Sony's trying to make movie games, right? Movie games, they kind of work for a subset of the audience. They love that shit. Most people, they don't really give a fuck about a movie game. They'd rather watch a fucking movie and play a fucking game. It may be that Nintendo just recognizes the huge amount of gamers in that category, and they just put all their eggs on that basket. And they say, we're going to do that better than anyone else. That's the only thing I can think of, because they consistently arrive at this place where they are selling oodles and oodles and oodles of their products. Sony isn't just movie games. Astrobot. I'm not saying they're only movie games, but they are known primarily. And even if you listen to Jim Ryan give an interview 2 weeks ago, They're going to continue to be known primarily as big budget, single player, narrative based action adventure games. Jim Ryan, the head of PlayStation, said this 2 weeks ago, or in an interview that came out 2 weeks ago. And they should. They're making great money doing that. They're creating great allegiances doing that with fans. But they're not Nintendo. They're just not. Certainly Microsoft is not. Go back and look at sales, original Gears compared to anything Sony had. I don't understand, Dog. Are you talking to me? In a family of 4, you can get by with one PS4, but the Switch needs more than one. Yeah, I mean, that's true. It's an expensive proposition for sure. But that's the only theory I could come up with. The only theory I can come up with is that they, more than any other company, consistently make gamers games. And most people who play games, kids, men, women, teenagers, they want to play games. If they want to watch movies, they'll watch movies. Here's how I know if people want to watch movies and TV shows instead of games, they'll do that. Because movies and TV shows are still doing great. It's not like people said en masse, holy shit, movie games are better than movies. Movie games are better than TV. And suddenly you had a massive decline in people watching movies and video games and television. Big Box says, Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War, Horizon, Sony's definitely a movie game factory. Yeah, and nothing's wrong with it. Nothing's fucking wrong with it. Bacon says, but Jaffe, PlayStation outsold Nintendo every generation except PlayStation 3 Wii. No, that's not true. Well, okay, the NES, Sony wasn't around. GameCube, yes. The DS outsold the PlayStation, the dual screen and the 3DS outsold all the consoles. The Wii outsold everything, and now the Switch is outselling everything. So, yeah, again, 5482 is saying Uncharted sold 16 million units. No one in the world is suggesting that Sony doesn't make amazing titles. No one in the world is suggesting that Sony doesn't make profitable, insanely profitable titles. But that's not what we're talking about. Look at how many units. Let's see. Sales. Let's see. Mario Kart 8, right? Let's see how many Mario Kart 8 has sold across 2 different units. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that's just the Switch, has sold 29 million units. But it was on the Wii U, because this is just sort of an upgrade version. So it's the same game, basically. And so sales, where is it? Let's see. 28.9, that's 2020. It's the Switch game, but this is not giving me the Wii game. So but it's well above 14 million, basically. The fact they tried to stream RE7 to Switch was pathetic. I don't understand what you mean, Naw Dog. It was also a packing game at one point with the console. Yeah, well, Uncharted's been a packing game. Look, you're not going to win the debate that that PlayStation games sell more than the iconic Nintendo games. You can debate and potentially win a debate if you like those kind of games that they're better than Mario Odyssey or Mario Kart 8 or what have you, or Smash Bros. But you cannot win the argument that Sony games usually sell more than these first-party Nintendo games. You simply can't. That's wrong, Jaffe. PS1 outsold NES. No, it's not wrong. NES was not competing with PS1. PS2 did outsell GameCube, but I'm talking about the DS. The DS came out and it wiped the floor with all consoles, including the one from Nintendo. That was the best-selling hardware of that generation, and it was a portable. Animal Crossing has sold 26 million units in less than a year. That's true. The Upvote Slam Jams mixtape sold an unreal 17 units. I don't know what that is. Okay. Switch is one of the best Nintendo consoles in years. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, DS sold 146 million. Mika, can we get rid of Mika? Mika, I would love to have a conversation with you, but you're too much. I mean, I love trolls, but the chat hates you guys. So I'm just going to ask one of our mods to ban you. And if they're not here right now, I'll go ahead and do it. It's unfortunate though, because you come in with basically assuming that gay is a slur. And I would love for you to call into the chat and let's have a conversation about that. Why in the world in 2020 would you use gay as a derogatory term? And also you say you're gay. First off, if I was gay, I wouldn't. That's so. I don't have a problem being gay if I was gay. Number two, it's YOU apostrophe RE. So I'm not gay, but you can call me gay. But you're stupid, and you are. I can call you stupid, and you are stupid. It doesn't matter if he's 14. If a 14-year-old doesn't know the way to use the goddamn "you're," doesn't know the proper way to write the goddamn English, he's a fucking moron. Fucking moron. Yeah, call me, man. You want to call? I'll talk to you live. Get on the goddamn Discord. Yeah, okay, I don't want to listen to your old ass. Yeah, sure. I don't mind being almost 50, pal. It beats the alternative. Yes, I'm 49 years old. Is that old? No. Is it middle-aged? It absolutely is. I don't see that as a problem. But hey, get on the Discord if you even know how to get on the Discord. And let's talk about it. I want to know why you think being old or older than you is a problem. Call me. The whole chat saying call me, but you're not going to because you're a goddamn coward. You're a goddamn What does that feel like? What does that feel like, Mika, to come into a fucking chat and think you're going to troll everybody, and then you don't have the fucking stones? I'm 49, I'm an old guy, right? You don't have the fucking stones to pick up your fucking headset and dial into the goddamn Discord. Think about that. Think about Dane Barnes says, how dare you get born 49 years ago? What a loser. Yeah, think about that, you fucking moron. Rob, ban this motherfucker. If you don't mind, Robert, I would appreciate it. Unless he wants to get on the Discord. I tell you second. Mika, Rob the mod is he says, join the Discord. Mika, if you join the Discord in the next minute, I'll let you stay and you got to call me. If not, we're banning your stupid fucking moronic ass. But I'd love to send you a copy of Strunk and Wyke Elements of Style, because you clearly were not raised by parents to give a shit about your education. Okay. Oh, good one, Mika. Mika's like, laugh. Okay, let's move on. Okay, Mika, you've gotten enough attention now. I know you didn't get any from your parents, but you got enough from me. Hope that was good. Hope you enjoyed it. Okay, listen to me. 25 years ago, I had my first baby. Now it's my second baby. Twisted Metal came out. Look at that. Today is the anniversary of Twisted Metal. Oh yeah, where's the Rob pop up? Fuck you. Oh shit. Hang on. Let's pop Rob up. He needs to be at the front. He needs to be at the front of the goddamn line. There he is. There's old Robert. Don't fuck with him, motherfucker. Yeah, yes, Dane Barnes. Okay, so look. It's been out for 25 fucking years. We've had this fucking clown with us out in the world. Is it 25 years more? I think it's 25 years. That's amazing to me. Now, somebody asked me, what was that like? And I remember I was at Culver City with Felice, who was one of the producers, and Mike Guillaume, who was the Sony designer of Jetmoto and Warhawk. And he also did like the con, and he's now working on other games, VR and stuff like that. And we had gone to eat there, and we went over to a Babbage's, right, which was like EB. I don't think it was EB. I think it was Babbage's, which is a software store. And it was the first time I ever fucking saw a game I worked on in a store. And I looked in the glass case, and there was Twisted Metal, and it was sitting right next to Warhawk, and today's Warhawk's 25th anniversary as well. And all I can tell you guys is I consistently get told by people how much they love Twisted Metal and how much it was, a part of them growing up and all this stuff. And the more I hear it, the more I understand that that's a real thing. But I obviously don't have those kinds of memories. I have memories of other games that did that to me. But I can just tell you that it's pretty cool that 25 years later, especially after we had a focus group not 2 months before November 5th, where I called my girlfriend at the time, who would become my wife, who is now my ex-wife, and the focus group hated Twisted Metal so much that I remember saying to her, I'm going to have to find a new job because I can't do this video game thing. They hate my game. They think it's terrible. They're making fun of it. Okay, Mika, you're out. Rob, would you get rid of Mika? Here you go, Mika. Boom. Why did they hate it? Thank you, Robert. They hated it. I don't know why they hated it. They said, they were really into like Street Fighter 2 and they were comparing everything to that. And they just, I don't know. It's been a long, I was in shock because I thought it was really good. And they did not. And in thinking it wasn't very good, I was just like sucker punch. So I couldn't even think about it. Was it because the 2D to 3D transition? That's part of it. That was really hard, Wilson. 3D to 2D ain't easy. We worked with some of the best in the business at the time because the guys who made the game development-wise and design-wise with us had done tons of 3D for the Army. But even still, it was really fucking hard. Was it harder to gauge how good your game was because of how unfamiliar 3D was? Yeah, but Alexis, it was also because I hadn't made many games. I'd only made one game before that. And in that, I didn't have the experience knowing that a developer falls in love with his own game within 6 months. And you have to trust focus tests and focus groups or play test to see the warts because you know how to play it perfectly. And when someone picks it up and doesn't play it that way, you think they're a fucking moron until you get enough experience doing it and you go, okay, they're giving you some good feedback, man. So anyway, happy anniversary, Sweet Toothy old so-and-so. Thank you for everything. Absolutely. I appreciate you guys playing it for sure. Okay, listen to me. There he is. There's old Sweet Tooth. Listen to me. This has been the gabbin portion of Gabbin' and Games. Okay? I will be back a little later tonight for the gaming portion. We're going to kill... if you don't know what we're doing for at least the next week, we're going to do a test. We're going to do a test where the gabbin is a different stream and the games is a different stream. There's a couple reasons we're doing that, but I'm going to try to put this on a podcast eventually. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. So anyway, we're wrapping this up. We've been talking for about 2 hours, 90 minutes, what have you. And I'll be back later tonight. We're going to be playing Luigi's Mansion. Remember, tomorrow, lunch with Jaffe for Cult of Calypso members and higher. Saturday night for all members. Members only chat. We're going to do some marijuana. We're going to watch some weird fucking movies. And we're going to talk spiritual shit. That's Saturday. Next week is Gamer Night. We're going to do probably Strange Brigade and or Bomberman. We got Win the Sweet Tooth Funko truck. Practice your Brawlhalla skills. This is all member shit. We got the Thanksgiving Day celebration special coming up on Thanksgiving Day. It's everybody can watch, but only members can participate. Costs you $4.99 to get in on a lot of this stuff. Settle in, support the stream, like the stream, sub to the stream, become a member, all that nonsense. I'll see some of you guys later tonight in about an hour, hour and a half for Luigi's Mansion. No, like I just said, we are going to be playing a game tonight, but I'm separating the streams for a week just to see how it does. So I'm going to have a separate Gabbin stream, which is this, about 90 minutes, and then I'm going to go into a game stream about 90 minutes to 2-3 hours in about an hour and a half, okay? So that will be later tonight. Okay, Rob the Mod, Bukaki, thank you guys. Super Chats, thank you guys. Subs, thank you guys. Everyone, thank you for being here, being part of the conversation. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys either tonight or on Lunch with Jaffe tomorrow. I'll put up details about that on the Discord tonight. I'll be streaming again tomorrow about 3:15 with a normal Gabbin section of Gabbin Games. Good night, everybody.